a move in the ring. You can hit me with a word you fling.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is the Post-Fight Podcast, South China Morning Post, SCMP MMA. We're back for a little bit of a news update. I'm Nick Atkin, your host, and I'm joined by, as usual, the venerable JHK MMA, John Hyon. I'm bringing him in now. John, what's up, sir? How are you keeping?
Good, man. It's exciting to be back. We haven't done one of these, I think, in a couple of weeks now, but there's a lot to talk about, and we gotta get going, man. We gotta do it. We gotta get flowing. Let's do it.
We got to get going. We got to get flowing. But first of all, yeah, just give me an update on Mr. John's life, because I care about you, John. I want to know how you're feeling, how you're doing. Yeah, how you been doing?
I've just been, living life like normal. I think the corona cases are going back down now. It was over 1,000 a day, but now it's back below 1,000, and people are not like freaking out as much. So I just think people are overreacting a lot of the times. If you go out, wear a mask and be careful, and if you stay home, just stay home. Like that's what I'm doing most of the time. I'm usually staying home, trying to work, trying to produce content, and if I have to go out to do something, I'm staying safe, washing my hands, washing my ass, whatever I need to do.
Yeah, you know what? We haven't done this for a while. It was my birthday last weekend, so I kind of missed out on covering the UFC on the weekend. I did some writing, but we didn't do a show. Missed the one championship show, the collision course. That was actually on my birthday, the Friday. So apologies to anyone who was watching. I see Chris is over there in the comments already. Mr. Edwards Bailey. How you doing, Chris? Chris was super nice. He threw me a surprise birthday lunch. He invited all my friends. I had no idea about this. He got them all in one place on Saturday. He told me, I'm going to take you for a massage. And for some reason, I didn't think twice about this. I was like, okay, that's something Chris would do. He'd just take us for a massage. And he ended up just taking me to the restaurant. And all my friends are waiting there. We had a great time. I thank you again, Chris. Really good birthday. What a good guy. Hats off to Chris. Oh, I've knocked my headphones off. Hats off to Chris. And yeah, what a great guy. We want to have you back on the show as soon as you can, Chris. Let's get you in. Anyway, John, you and we're going to break down some news today, aren't we? We're going to start with Anthony Pettis. He says he's going to test free agency, but it looks like he was pushed. He didn't jump. Is that what you think?
I don't know. I don't know if he was pushed, or, I don't know if he was. Yeah, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like he was pushed into free agency. It's very interesting if you go back and rewind before his last fight. There was not much talk of him actually competing, and most people didn't even know that he was gonna be fighting his last fight on his contract until we got into fight week, and he started doing interviews, and he started to kind of reveal more and peeling off the layers and talking about, like, what situation he's in. And then I started to realize, because a lot of people thought this is a funny matchup. Like, why are they putting Alex Morono versus Anthony Pettis? That doesn't make sense. Anthony Pettis is ranked. He has a big name. Why does Anthony Morono get to fight him? And it makes sense now. The reason why is Pettis was already, on his way out. It seems like he already knew that after this fight, he was going to go test free agency. And the reason, why he chose to fight Alex Morono is because it's a advantageous matchup for him. It's less, I guess, less risk, more reward, because he steps away on a win, and he steps into free agency with a lot of chips, on the table, what I mean, on his side. And now he's going to go out there and see what's in the world. And I feel like he's a hot commodity, man. He's still a great fighter. He showed that in his last fight. The first round, he was in some trouble. He had his back taken, and he defended well, and fought through and won the last 2 rounds convincingly, and won the fight. So there's exciting matchups for him everywhere. I don't think he's going to get signed by the UFC, because you never know. You could say I'm parting ways with the UFC, and then like a week or 2 later, they could be negotiating behind closed doors, and he signed a new contract for 10 fights or whatever. So we have no idea, but I don't think that's the case. I think that Anthony Pettis is going to go check out what Bellator has to offer, what One Championship has to offer, what PFL has to offer, what ACA, Ryzen, I don't know. Like all these promotions should be interested in Anthony Pettis. He can fight in multiple divisions, 155, 170, and there's many reasons why you would sign him. Number one would be, he has a big name. He was a WEC champ. He was a UFC champ. He's fought the best of the best for the last 10 years, and he's still high level. And you could put him in there with anybody and it will sell. Like people want to watch Anthony Pettis. You know what I mean? The Showtime kick. How could you deny him as one of the best ever at lightweight? And he's, blazed a decent path at welterweight. So wherever he goes, he's gonna have a good swan song, so to say. In his next stage in his career. Now, thinking about who would be the best fit, what would be the best fit for Anthony Pettis? Nick, what do you see? Do you want him in One Championship? Do you think that would be a good fit? Maybe at 155. The reason why is One Championship, even though you're lightweight, you weigh in at welterweight. So it's not like he has to cut all the way down to 155. He could be at that 170 range and still fight. And I feel like it would be a good situation for him because there's a long list of great fighters. And I believe Anthony Pettis did he ever fight Eddie Alvarez?
You tell me. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I don't think they fought each other. So
I don't think so.
That's an interesting fight right there. Anthony Pettis versus Eddie Alvarez. And did they fight? That's, I think you got to bring up that tapology of Anthony Pettis so we don't look stupid. But yeah.
Well, look, in response to your question, I was going to ask you, do you think Anthony Pettis is better off being, if he stays in UFC, I think it's clear he's going to be that gatekeeper type. But he can go to other organizations, can't he? He can go and win gold maybe in one or in Bellator. He can try and win gold. I'm just looking at his topology here. Let's bring that up on screen. 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's, what would you prefer if you're the fighter, John? Do you want to be the guy, maybe not even getting that much money to be the gatekeeper? The UFC these days, he could go make more money in Bellator. He can go try and win a title. His brother's there, isn't he, Sergio? It's here you go. Here's the record.
Oh, so Eddie did. You see, Drake is in the comments. He's a computer. He did fight Eddie.
Yeah, he did. He lost to Eddie Alvarez fight night.
By
81 January 2016. Split decision.
All right. Well, I would like to see the rematch then. You know what I mean? Like, I think the rematch would be fun to watch now, especially when they're gonna step into that cage. I feel like they'll be much bigger, much more powerful, and in the One Championship rules too, with like the knees to the grounded opponent. You know what I mean? Like, there's different like atmosphere. But Bellator would be a good fit too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of good fights at 170, 155. I tweeted out that you could put Anthony Pettis against Patricio Pitbull. You could put him against, this is for the lightweight title. You could put him against Christian Lee for the lightweight title. You know what I mean? Like, who would not want to see Christian Lee versus Anthony Pettis for 155 title fight? Like, that's a beautiful situation right there for One Championship. You know what I mean? Like, One Championship, they have the money to sign him. And when you look at it, Anthony Pettis has nothing else to prove with the UFC. I feel like, he was the champ. He's fought the best of the best for many years, beat a lot of them, and lost to some of them. And now it's like, would you want to get paid to be a gatekeeper, or would you want to get paid more and, and chase after gold somewhere else? I don't know, man. Like, I think that he's making the right move by testing the free agency. And
yeah, we should get Drake up in here. We
gotta get Drake in here
today. Drake, are you at hand to a computer?
Drake, are you at home right now? That's the question. Are you ready to do the first? This is going to be historic. Drake, are you at home right now? Do you have your setup ready? We're going to have you come in and join us live on the show. Drake, tell us what's going on, man. Or are you laying in bed?
I saw Drake. He had his microphone set up. He was on someone else's show the other day. and it was a funny clip he put on Twitter. I think he accurately predicted the finish of a fight. I can't remember what it was. It was hilarious. He got it right, and oh man, remind me what it was, Drake. You know what I'm talking about. It was superb.
Yeah,
But yeah, Drake.
yeah, I saw the clip too, and I understand. Yeah, Drake, man, that guy is a computer. I'm telling you. Like, I did that Kumite quiz show, and this guy he knew everything. Like him and Jose Youngs, I think, and Marcel also. Those guys know so much history. I don't understand how they remember everything. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know. Maybe they went to school for it. I have no idea, but they know so much about the sport, like historically, and it's really impressive. But anyways, going back to Anthony Pettis, man, there's so many great fights out there outside of the UFC for him, and if he's going to be able to make more money and fight these other fights, like against an MVP, against a Paul Daly, and okay, I'll do it just for you, John. Give me a minute. All right, I'm gonna send you the link. I'm gonna send you the link in the your Twitter DMs. All right, I'm gonna do it right now. So you hop in when you can, and I'm gonna send it to you right now, buddy. All right, so what do you think?
Maybe we can pick Drake's mind a little bit about the Ryzen show coming up, because Drake does stuff with Ryzen, so that'll be cool.
So what do you think? Like, what would be some like? Of course, we're over in Asia. We would love to have Anthony Pettis in one championship. You know what I mean? He's gonna most likely he's gonna stay in North America, maybe with Bellator, and a lot of people are talking about he might go into that PFL tournament so he could get a chance at $1 million. But I don't see that. I feel like Anthony Pettis, he's not a type of guy that wants to fight like 5 or 6 times a year. I see him maybe fighting 3 times a year and fighting big fights. So Bellator would be a spot for him. And then another spot would be, of course, over here on this side of the world, one championship, because it's all about who can afford them. And what kind of matchups do you see over here at 155, maybe even at 170? You know what I mean? Because that 170 division, pretty thin.
Chris puts it pretty well there. If he's joining that lightweight division, there's some good matchups. Lowen Tananis, who just lost, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? Timothy Nastyukin, but I think he's got bigger fish to fry at the moment. Christian Lee, yeah, he's going to have to earn a title shot there. Shinya Aoki would be a good one maybe to throw him in against. Yeah, look, one would be a great fit for him. I'd love to have him there. It's up to Chatri, it's up to one. I feel like people are shying away from this thing now of signing UFC rejects, the guys and the girls who get cut. They don't want to be seen to picking up the also rans, the scraps. It might just be something, not be anything in that, but I don't know. I feel you don't want to be seen as being second best, the place where the people UFC don't want, they go to you.
But Pettis is not scraps though. Pettis, if you look at his record, he just fought his last fight on his contract. So it's not like he had fights left on his contract and the UFC released him. It's not a Yoel Romero situation, right? Where he had like a bunch of fights left. And and he got released.
He's kind of been up and down, hasn't he, in his last, I don't know what. Look at the record.
When you're fighting the best of the best,
one loss. Yeah, I know.
And then you're like at the tail end, of your prime. Of course, it's going to be back and forth, right? Like, of course, you're not going to beat everybody because there's a lot of wear and tear on Anthony Pettis. But I feel like he has still a good 10 more fights in him, and if he has 10 more fights in him, 10 more fights in Bellator, 10 more fights in one championship, I feel like he can put on some exciting fights. And also, look at his highlight reel, man. Like, he has one of the best highlight reels of all time. Think about it. He has the Showtime kick. He has the Superman punch knockout off the fence against Wonder Boy. He has some good submission wins, and he's known as the striker. So, it's I would love to see him in one championship. I would love, and of course, Ryzen would be a good spot too. But I don't see Ryzen signing Anthony Pettis anytime soon. I feel like
man. I just feel like everyone's going to Bellator lately. So why not mix things up? Anthony, Mr. Showtime, if you're listening, go to one. Come over here. Come out here. They
Yeah.
treat you right. Some good fights for you there. They give you some money. I think it'd be good.
Imagine Anthony Pettis and Sage Northcutt. That's a fight that it's like, okay, would you ever thought of that fight happening? But it could happen if Anthony Pettis comes over. Both of those guys are strikers. You got the Showtime kick versus the Super Ninja, Sage Northcutt, right? Doing backflips, sitting down. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is amazing. So I don't. Anthony Pettis, wherever he goes, he's a great addition to the promotion, no matter where he goes. And I'm glad in some ways that he's leaving the UFC, because I feel like there's some exciting matchups that we still haven't seen out of Anthony Pettis, and maybe some brilliance out of Anthony Pettis we still haven't seen. And maybe he needs a certain type of rule set to bring that out of him. And maybe it's maybe it's Bellator, maybe it's a different environment that he needs to be in, right? But the UFC
Well,
is the UFC.
I felt he ran his course there a little bit. There was no matchups left for him that made sense. You know, he went up to welterweight, had that incredible win over one boy, but then lost to Nate Diaz. Yeah, and it's like, what do you do with him? He went back down, and then he went back up again. And it's like, yeah, man, there's seemed to be no place for him, and it was sad seeing a guy who is so good, former champion. You know, he's a real legend in a way. I don't want to say, I know people overuse the word legend, but you know, Anthony Pettis is one of the OGs. There's a reason Nate Diaz fought him, right? Nate turned down a bunch of people, but as soon as they gave him Pettis, he's like, yeah, he's one of the guys. He's one of the people who he's real, and that is true. Like he's one of the real fighters in the UFC, and I hope he. Who's his management? First round management, right? Carr was.
I believe so.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure they'll get him a good deal, but they seem to be sending their guys to Bellator lately, don't they?
Yeah, wherever he goes, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a
fun.
Look,
the Kawas hate Chatri. There's a huge feud there.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a massive beef.
Isn't Mighty Mouse represented by First Round?
I don't know.
I believe so. I think his management is Makikawa.
The Kawas fell out with Chatri over the Cosmo Alessandri thing, because they were repping Cosmo, and then Cosmo magically signed with Ali Abdelaziz suddenly, and then got a new contract with One, and right around the same time, Malky
and we still haven't seen him fight. That's what's tripping me out.
He got a new contract at least, but they started. Remember, there was on Twitter they started slagging off Chatri, and everyone's like, "What's going on?" And then Cosmo signed this new contract. Something went on there. I don't know about Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah, this is very weird. Like, I don't understand that back and forth. You know, I mean, of course, I feel like there's mistakes being made on both sides, because of course, you know, these guys are, you know, in the business room, in the conference room, right, battling it out for money, and this is not small money. You know, I mean, this is big money. So of course they're not going to like each other too much. I feel like, you know, it's a battle of like who's the top dog, right? That's what it is basically. Who's the A side, and when you're battling back and forth about who's the A side, of course you're gonna hate each other. I feel like it happens all the time. And you know, like even like Dana White, you know, I mean, you see it with him. You see it with Dana White, you know what I mean? Like sometimes he stops dealing with certain fighters because it just he can't handle them. You know what I mean? It's just like he doesn't like to deal with them in business. And you know, that's what it is. You know, like you remember for the longest time he didn't talk with John Jones directly at all. Remember, they hated each other. But you know, like that's one thing about the UFC I like, is that you could hate each other, but if it makes sense, they're gonna do business. You know what I mean? And they get it done, and they push the feelings to the side. So that's one thing about the UFC. All right, we got the man.
Oh, look, he's down here.
All right.
Look at this hat.
Hey.
Oh, what is
Packers?
that?
Oh my God.
Yeah, buddy.
Packers. Jesus.
Go back. Go.
Hey,
Ho.
Before we get on to the MMA stuff, who is better, Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers?
Throwing that one at me, John. Jeez, that's like asking me which dad do I like better. Brett is essentially the guy who made me become a Packers fan, right? But I think I have to go with A-Rod at this point, man. Just everything he's done so far, and I guess I've lived with him more as my quarterback than Brett, so yeah, I think I have to go Aaron. But I love them both, but yeah, it's A-Rod. It's A-Rod if we're gonna be real.
My memories are always with Brett Favre. It's just
Yeah.
I don't care how well Aaron Rodgers does. He could win like 4 Super Bowls more, and I'll still be on the train with Brett Favre. Like Brett Favre did
What are you
some
guys talking
amazing
about?
things.
This
We're talking about
American-
quarterbacks for the Green Bay Packers.
Nick doesn't know.
Yeah, Nick. It's like when Nick talks about football with the
Yeah, and
with
you
Fritz.
always tell
Yeah,
me
I know.
off. You tell us off. You give a stern
Yeah.
warning. We're not allowed to talk about.
I said before we move on, it was just this little bit. I just had to ask him though. But yeah, man, Anthony Pettis, man, like I said, there's so much out there for him. Like he doesn't need to stay in the UFC. He doesn't need to re-sign with them. He could go out there, make way more money, and get exciting fights, add to his legacy, and ride off into the sunset with everything he's wanted because he already has the WEC belt. He already has the UFC belt. He already has wins over like Hall of Famers, legends. What else do you want, man? Like people act like Pettis doesn't, like he didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden people are jumping off the bandwagon because the UFC, he parted ways with the UFC, right?
I mean, they do that with everybody, right? So yeah, it's kind of like I don't think we're feeling that yet with Pettis. I mean, it's still very fresh, but like you look at the narrative that was kind of created by like Dana about Silva and maybe more so Romero right after, like he made it sound like he's done already, right? And I mean, you look at his last couple fights and who they were against. It's like I don't want to say that just yet about this guy. I mean, he's only been fighting the top guys, and you could argue that as bad of a fight that it was that he beat Adesanya, right? I mean, I think there's an argument there for that. So I think that those narratives are very real, what you're talking about. But Pettis, I think he's more close to being signs of washed. I don't want to say that word, but not as good as he once was compared to definitely like Romero Silva. That's a different story. But yeah, there's plenty of fun options for Pettis still. I'm happy and excited to see him move on because first of all, it's his choice, and then just we've seen him fight pretty much everybody in the UFC at this point, and I don't think that he's at the top level anymore. Just looking at who he's lost against recently, it's pretty much been the top guys, and then who he's beating now are people that he should probably beat. And if he doesn't beat him, then okay, you should definitely get rid of him. But he's passed these tests now, and he's finally on a winning streak again for the first time since he was champion, which is insane. So, yeah, no, I'm excited for whatever's next for him, wherever it is. I don't think he can really go wrong in his position.
It's hard to argue with Drake in a lot of things because his mind remembers everything. So it's like you can say something and it's totally wrong, and he'll just come back and tell you nope, because I didn't even know that fact. Like I didn't know that this was his first win streak since he was the champion. Like that's a statistic I would never even looked at or even thought of.
Man, I got you.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right though. But like I understand that he's past his prime. He's like right at the tail end, right? Like he can still beat some of the guys if he comes in like everything is aligned, the stars are aligned. He could go out there and pull off some spectacular finish, and we saw it with the Wonder Boy knockout, right? We saw it. We saw that he can go out there and beat the elite of the elite. It's just everything has to line up perfectly. And man, I just think like we're gonna still be able to see some of those moments when he starts fighting for another promotion, and whoever or whatever entity he joins and fights for, we're gonna see some excellence out of him because. Like you said, a lot of the guys that he'll probably face in the future, they might not be the best guys, but there are guys that are like stylistically, it'll be exciting. And then I mentioned somebody like a MVP. I feel like MVP would be like because where I got that idea from was Mike Bond. He was doing an interview today with Scott Coker, and I watched that interview and I was like, man, I didn't even think about that. Pettis at welterweight versus MVP. That's like a perfect debut fight for Pettis if he actually goes over to Bellator, you know what I mean? Because I was thinking like, just feed him to fucking excuse my language, feed him to Patricio Pitbull, or if one signs him, feed him to Christian Lee. You know what I mean? Like, because he has that big name, and to put that on your resume, it's phenomenal, right? What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I want to see him in one. Like I was saying, I just hope that there's not enough beef there with the Kawas and one, because we saw what happened. Drake, you got any info on that? John was thinking, is Demetrius Johnson rep by them? Because that would make it easier. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe. I'm not totally sure about that. But no, I do think it would be very fun to see Pettis in one. I think it would be awesome to see him, with the Ryzen rule set. But I'm ruling that out of the equation. I think most likely it will be Bellator because of obviously the connection with Sergio being there already and everything. And it's funny though. What's that?
It's just easier, isn't it? He doesn't have to uproot anything. He can just, there's no real changes in your life have to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to think, if you're going to one, you've got to do these long ass trips. You've got to acclimatize. You've got to get ready to the time adjustment. Sometimes your body's going to be thinking it wants to sleep, right? And it's fight time. A DJ says he has to go out there like 3 weeks before his first one fight, just so he wasn't falling asleep in the cage. But that's it.
That's the wrong time to fall asleep.
yeah, seriously.
He didn't. He won. Good for DJ. Anyway, I want to shout out, by the way, to the Twitch homies. It's the first time we've gone on Twitch, Drake.
Nice.
Set up the new account just before we went live.
There we go. Congratulations, guys.
Historic moment for us and for Drake. His first time on the show, and he's on the Twitch. There's reason.
If any of you have Twitch and you are watching, go follow us. I don't know what you call it on Twitch. Following, liking, subscribing. I've never used Twitch.
I think it's subscriptions. I think.
Okay. Well, we are SCMP MMA, like you see here on YouTube, on Facebook. Give us a follow or a subscribe, whatever you do. Twitch homies out there, enjoy this content. Yeah,
and we're gonna be on TikTok eventually. Watch out. We're gonna be making TikTok.
That's where the real money is.
Exactly. We're doing our own Showtime Pettis kicks and TikToking that. What a disaster.
Well, look, what about you? You put a few other things in the description. Do you want to get on to the next thing? I guess the other big news, Jake Paul, is it?
Yeah.
Boy.
Man. I'm
just gonna head out right now, you guys.
A lot of people hate this, but I'm not a person that hates this. You know why? Is because I feel like Jake Paul is bringing attention to the MMA world, from the outside world, which is like the YouTube world or like even the younger generation or whatever. And I feel like, why not, man? Why not bring some more eyes to the MMA world? Man? I don't hate that too much. You know what I mean? That crowd, bringing them in and exposing them to some of the fighters here. The whole like Ben Askren versus Jake Paul, I feel like Jake Paul is a mastermind, dude. Like this guy, he knows, like he's an athlete, number one, and he's being trained by like very good coaches, and he's training hard, and he's really want to fight. You know what I mean? Like he really wants to box, and he really wants to box high level guys. But to get to those high level guys, you got to beat up the guys that you can beat. And I feel like that's why he's fighting Ben Askren, because he knows he could beat Ben Askren. Let's be honest, right? Ben Askren is retired. He's coming off hip replacement surgery. So, and he was never a striker. Remember his last fight against Damian Maia? He was doing like the slowest spinning back fist in history, right? Like it looked like he was going in reverse, like how slow he was going. So, do you expect Jake Paul to like line up these fights knowing that he's going to lose? I don't think so. I feel like he knows he's going to beat Ben Askren. He knows he could beat Dylan Dennis. That's why he's doing all of this. That's why he's like a one-man Dana White promotion right now. He's the new UFC. Like he's just doing it all on his own, and he's doing a great job. You got to give props to him for that, man. It's like he's the one creating all this buzz. And some of these guys are very lucky. Do you think he's gonna fight Michael Bisping? I don't think so. I think Michael Bisping's he can still bang in there, man. Like that's a dangerous fight for him. And if he's gonna fight somebody that could really bang and knock him out, he's going to take on McGregor. That's the only fight that you would actually go out there and take a chance of getting starched to make that big money, right? But going back to Ben Askren, my prediction already, I'm seeing a knockout by Jake Paul. I'm seeing Jake Paul knocking out Ben Askren. Dude, it's like
What?
it's like a
Yeah.
it's like a what is it? How do you say it? A sheep to slaughter. So taking a sheep to slaughter. That's what I
to
see, man.
slaughter.
I see that. And I love Ben Askren, man. He's a great guy and everything, but dude, like, why are you even taking this fight? I know maybe it's because
like, is Ben a little confused? He can't just pick him up and put him on the ground. 'Cause
Exactly.
Ben Askren in a boxing match, that's not his territory. We know it's not. Like you said, Damian Maia, that was kind of funny seeing them two strike. But yeah, how good is Jake Paul? I didn't even watch that fight, to be honest. And I don't know. Can he even box? John, you say he's got good coaches, man. I don't know. Yeah, I'm taking your word for it. Yeah.
Did you see his house?
Drake.
He has a boxing ring inside his house. Like he could wake up, walk downstairs, and train in his house. Like that's crazy.
Oh, no,
like,
he's
he's dedicated.
do it for real. Good to him. Good on him, man. I just don't know. Yeah, is he any good?
Is he good, Drake?
And Drake,
I don't
you
watch
friend it to
him.
you.
I don't watch Jake Paul. Are you kidding me? Oh, maybe he is. Just for me, man. Like, well, first of all, I do want to say how fantastic job ducking Bisping, right? I mean, because that's definitely what is happening here. If he ends up fighting Askren, a fantastic duck job by him. Because one-eyed, no-need Bisping, I think, would still piece him up, no matter how good Jake Paul ends up being. And even the thing about a Ben Askren fight for me is like, Ben Askren, yeah, not a great striker. No, everybody knows that, but still, he's a guy. He's a fighter who has fought actual fighters until I know, before even seeing that Jake Paul has actually fought and knocked out, beat, hung in there with actual fighters, not YouTubers or basketball players. I feel like I have to give the edge to the guy who has actually competed professionally as a fighter for a lot longer than Jake Paul. Even if he's better at one aspect, wrestling, than let's say his boxing and striking. So that's how I feel about it. I don't think you can break it down too much because of what it is. But yeah, and I'll also note that people always like to point out the spinning back fist highlight or low light from the Damian Maia fight. But like that's the only part where that sequence happened in the fight. Like I'm gonna have to rewatch the fight, but I recall Askren was, outstriking Maia. It might not have been pretty. I mean, take that for what it is, but he wasn't looking that bad for the entire fight. Like that clip, fans like to point out one thing and say that that's how it all looked like. They're doing it with this fight, I think. Not saying Askren is a great striker, but the whole fight didn't look like that gif.
I was going to show it, but I'm a bit worried we'll get it blocked again. We had some trouble with that, didn't we, John? We get the UFC on our backs, so
Yeah.
we won't show Ben Askren spinning back fist. Sorry. It is worth it. Go look it up on Twitter or wherever you find your GIFs, how you pronounce it. Yeah. When is it? It's March 28th, right? Los Angeles. It's not the same card as Logan and Mayweather. I don't know. Is that the same promoter? John, do you know?
I don't remember if they put the details on promotion for Floyd and Logan, but I know that the poster that Chael released today or whatever yesterday was for Triller, that was the same one as Tyson and Jones for this Askren and Paul one. So I don't know if that's the same for Logan.
I think he owns part of Triller. Jake Paul does, right? So I'm pretty sure if he owns part of the stream is a streaming site, right? I'm pretty sure he's going to put it on there. And whenever Mayweather's involved in something, Mayweather controls it. So I don't think it's going to be on Triller. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mayweather's going to control everything. He's the A side, right? But the thing about Jake Paul too, at the same time, he's the A side. Can you deny that?
No, that's true. I mean, if you want to talk about the bigger overall reach, more people know about Jake Paul. Yeah,
without Jake Paul, these guys don't have these big money fights, right? You don't have Dylan Dennis coming in, and Joe. I remember I was listening to somebody and they were talking about Joe Rogan was talking about if it was a street fight that Dylan Dennis would smash Jake Paul, and that's true. And if it was a street fight with Ben Askren, even with him, you know, being how old he is and what he's gone through and the damage that he's taken, I feel like, yeah, Ben Askren will still smash Jake Paul. But this is not a street fight. This is in a boxing ring. And Jake Paul is 23 years old and he's training like it's a championship fight every fight versus Ben Askren. And I don't even think Ben Askren is going to even take it too seriously, to be honest with you. And he's going to go in there and make some big mistakes. And I feel like I said earlier, it's not going to be a fun night, man. And Drake's kind of echoing what a lot of people are going to say. It's like, oh, I'm going to take the guy that actually fought the fighters and been in fights. But this is a different situation, man. Ben Askren is a retired guy, much older. How old is Ben Askren anyways? Is he
36? Yeah.
He's 36, right? But he's taken a lot of damage. He's been wrestling since he was since before Jake Paul was born, right? He's been wrestling before Jake Paul was born.
Yeah.
So I'm not like on the train of like Jake Paul and all stuff. I don't really pay attention to him. I just see what I see on Twitter and social media, right? But from watching that Nate Robinson fight and like seeing his training, a little bit of his training that he does and the dedication that he has, I see him winning this fight, man. Like if it actually does happen, I see him win this fight. But if it was Michael Bisping, no, I don't see that. Michael Bisping got it. Huh?
Is it an exhibition or what? What are the rules? How many rounds?
No details yet. It's not even like official or anything. So
yeah. We're talking about hypotheticals.
Ben's gonna shoot for a takedown. He's gonna just try and take him down. I see it, right?
Yeah. If he
I hope so.
Like it could be possible. Like he could get cracked, and then next thing you know, he's wrestling Jake Paul, right? And then it's an MMA fight. But
I would rather see him wrestle. I think that's more appealing to me. I don't know if I'm in the majority here, but that's more interesting to me.
Oh yeah, because I would love to see that because I want Ben to win. I want Ben to beat him up terribly.
I want to see Ben Askren do what he does to people. I want to see him do that to Jake Paul. I would pay $50, whatever you're gonna charge me for that.
Yeah,
dude, just think about it though. Like if Ben Askren, if this really does happen, and Ben goes out there and even if he loses, gets knocked, if it looks competitive at all, which appears to be possible according to John, we're taking John's word for this, right? If it looks competitive at all, that makes, I think, MMA look bad because he's representing the MMA fighters, even though he's not the best striker. But it's similar to Conor versus Floyd in that sense, I would say, where these guys are going over and think about the situation and just think about the ammo that it gives Jake Paul too. Like, it's not good.
It's not good. It's 100% correct. It will make MMA look bad, and it's going to make MMA look bad. That's why
it's genius by Jake. That's why it's genius.
Exactly. He knows who he's picking on.
I think Chris makes a good point here that Ben Askren trained at Evolve when he was fighting in one, and you obviously have guys like Nongo, Rodtang, these Muay Thai champs. They are some of the best strikers in the game. So Ben Askren is no alien to good striking. I'm sure he knows what's coming. He's just never opted or chosen to really train.
He hasn't needed to, right?
Doesn't need to, yeah. He can take a hit. We've seen that. Other than that knee from Masvidal, we think of the Robbie Lawler fight. He took a lot of hits there. And that fight could have ended if it was anyone else other than Askren, but he got back up. It's either I think Jake Paul's just going to punch him. It's going to be like Homer Simpson in the episode where he's just standing there getting hit. Because what can Ben Askren do, guys? Yeah, if he can't shoot, what does Ben Askren do? It's going to be weird. He might just be a punching bag for 10 minutes, make a couple million, and then get out of there.
Yeah, because he could just run around the ring all day and just throw the jab. And that could actually be what happens in this fight. But I don't see Jake Paul doing that. I think Jake Paul, he's a risk taker. And in boxing, he will take the risk also, man. I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to go in there and try to knock Ben Askren's head off. And the thing is, like, Ben Askren hasn't been training any striking. I guarantee that, right? No, I don't guarantee, but I'm pretty sure that he hasn't been training any kind of striking.
I don't think he's been training at all lately.
Exactly, because he was coming off the surgery, right?
Trump
How are you
dance.
gonna
That's the
get
only thing
prepared
he's been
for
doing.
how you gonna get prepared for a boxing match in like what 3 months or 2 months or whatever they have left? It's kind of fishy, don't you think? Like they did announce this, but would this actually happen in March? I don't know, man. If it does, man, I'm definitely putting my money on Jake Paul. I don't know. People
All
can
right.
hate me
Well,
for it,
like-
but I'm just telling you how I feel. This is my gut feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not hitting on Ben Askren, but man, like I would have been more interested in seeing like Michael Bisping, man. That was the one. I was like,
yeah,
when
that
he
would have
when he
been
was talking
fun.
trash about Michael Bisping, I was like, dude, signed the contract against Michael Bisping. Even though he's coming off knee surgery too, he don't have to kick.
Dude,
He's
just
still
for
got
the
no
trash
chance.
talk alone, just to hear Bisping again.
Yeah, I love Bisping too, man. Bisping is great, but yeah, like,
I'd
I
rather
don't think
see
he'll win it.
Bisping's son against Jake
Oh.
Paul. That would be right.
Didn't he say something about his son too? Like something about wrestling with his son or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Maybe
think
it was
so.
another fighter. Oh, it
That
was
Deron
no, it was
Winn, yeah.
Deron Winn.
Oh, right.
Can you bring that up, Nick? The tweet by
Because
Deron Winn?
Duran said something to Bisping, right? And then
Yeah,
so forth and
something,
so
right?
on.
Yeah,
I didn't see
something
Callum's comments, but I saw that he commented, so I don't know what
Yeah,
this is
so-
yet.
Yeah, I
was
don't
looking
think he
earlier.
should be going at Deron Winn. That guy is a legit wrestler, like purebred wrestler, man. Don't let the like the what is it? The aesthetics fool you, man. That guy can wrestle. Like he will pound you to the ground. I don't know if you want to mess
Oh.
with him.
A lot
It's
to
just-
unpack here, actually.
Ooh.
Bisping commented as well, Mr. The Count. Mr.
Of course
Michael.
he's gonna comment. Of course he's gonna come back
All right,
and tell
look, I
you.
don't know who started this. Was it Bisping said something about Deron Winn on commentary maybe last
Oh, he's
weekend?
got jokes.
Arroyo, you got jokes. Put your money where your mouth is. I'll take you down 13 times in 15 minutes. I got 2K cash on it. We can do it at SF State Wrestle Room. So Callum, that's his son, can comfort you after I whoop you like you stole something. Might take him down for fun. Bisping said something, bro. Only 13 times in 15 minutes, mate. I'm old, retired. No knees and half blind.
Oh.
Bisping's playing the. He knows. He's
Don't
just
sell
doing that.
yourself short, big guy. That's hilarious.
Bring the WD-40 LMAO. All right. Yeah, I think where was Callum Bisping's comment? That was the funniest one here.
You know
It was
what's
in the
funny
comments.
is that he
There you
said bring 2K, and it's like, come on, man,
I would wrestle
2K.
you, but you wouldn't be able to pass the drug test.
Oh,
Good banter all around. And
Wow.
yeah, 2K, it's a bit like, man, Bisping, have you seen Bisping's mansion in, where does he live, in
It's a
California?
nice place.
Yeah, Bisping, 2K is like what Bisping, tips the waitress, I think, when he goes out for lunch or dinner.
if you're gonna talk trash, you gotta talk trash like a rapper. You gotta say like, bring that 100K. Like bring the 100K. Like even though you don't have 100K, you gotta say 100K. That's like the
Stretch the
limit.
numbers.
Exactly. That's like the minimum of how you bet with like someone like an athlete or something on some contest, right? And it's publicly 2K. Come on, man. You're selling yourself short. 2K is like, what's going on?
If Askren loses and Woodley goes for revenge, is this against Jake Paul? Who you got
Oh
there?
my god.
Oh, Woodley would smash Jake Paul. I have no doubt about that. That's a little bit different right there.
Yeah, if it's a straight up striking match,
Yeah, Woodley
I'll
would
believe
be throwing
Woodley will
haymakers.
come out of the shell for that, hopefully.
Yeah, he will come out the show. It'd be like a Ninja Turtle, like Shredder, just coming out like it was like the Predator, right? Just
What
coming out
about,
like
a rap battle between Woodley and
Oh
Jake.
my
Oh my god, Nick.
I think I'm taking it too far.
That's
Maybe Woodley will perform at the pay-per-view like they did.
that
All
would
right,
just
look.
be full circus.
What did you? We had another topic as well. Buchecha.
Buchecha.
Okay,
Let's talk
so
about Buchecha.
yeah, I wrote this for SCMP, but let's give who had it? Michael Fidel, right?
Man,
You had
put up
that.
your article. Why would you go
No,
to Twitter
no.
if you have an
I'm
article?
gonna give Mr. Mike
Who
he-
broke the news?
Kambache, but I like Michael so I'm going to show his tweet. It's got the
Reasonable.
picture. Yeah. I don't know anyone at Kapachi. Here we go. Yeah, it's happening, says Michael Fidel. 13-time IBJJF world champ, 2 times ADCC gold medalist Marcus Buchecha Almeida making his MMA debut against Sengalese wrestling sensation Oumar Reug Reug Kane at one championship 224 event. That is the Demetrius Johnson Adriano Moraes fight, I think. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct. And man, Reug looks like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he would just like like how Habib like wrestled bears. Like this guy looked like he wrestled lions or something, right? Like for real. Like this guy just looks
Have you
massive.
seen the finish though? Like the ending sequence on that fight is incredible.
When he had the Kimura, when he was stuck in the Kimura and he just slammed the dude down like 15 times. Is that what you're talking about?
The guy's clearly got some skills.
No, I don't think
He's crazy popular too. If you look at the numbers on this,
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
a viral sensation on the internet. But I have to say here, I did actually reach out to one championship. I asked them, so is this happening? Is this real? They said no confirmation, and he's not under contract there yet. So take it with a pinch of salt.
That's breaking. Because remember, like when Sake Kabara or whatever, I can't say his name, but it's just too hard. And I'm Asian, like I can't say it. But
Sake Kabara.
yeah, Sake Kabara, right? And when he like broke the news about Ham, right? And then Nick interviewed Chatri, and Chatri did not confirm or deny that Ham was signed. And then now I'm hearing behind the scenes that there's some problems like with actually getting her signed. But I don't know where the problems lie, right? So there's some funny stuff going on behind the scenes. And I think it might have to do with like her old management that she was having problems with.
Reug was like gonna fight in April, right? His second fight in there in Aries, and then it got cancelled. Is he under contract there? I don't know.
That's another thing. Is Aries even going on?
Yeah,
I saw someone tweeting like Aries is done.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
All I'm saying is, look, I put it up the chain, and then they said that's not true. Nothing is confirmed.
No.
Yeah,
because
they might.
Nick would know, right? If you ask him, they will tell you, right?
I put in a cursory message just to say, is this? I'm going to publish this story. Is it correct? They said there's no confirmation, so I just had to say it's reportedly. You can get away with saying that these days. So it's fine.
Has anybody reached out to Buchecha?
That's what I asked. Like, let's ask him, but I don't have his contacts. I went through.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody's reached out to Buchecha. Most likely, they probably talked to Buchecha, right? Because he's Brazilian, so most likely they have the contact.
Oh yeah, very true.
It'd be hard to see who has a contact for Reug Reug. Like, I don't know nobody that has a connection to Reug Reug. So yeah. I don't see that confirmation coming. I'm pretty sure Reug Reug is probably happy to see this news because he probably wants to fight and make some money. And but if they do sign Reug Reug, I think that's a massive signing for the heavyweight division. Like it bolsters, like it just stacks it pretty high. They just need to have the heavyweights fight each other. That's the problem.
One heavyweight division suddenly looks really fun. You got Ali Akbari as well.
Yeah,
who doesn't want to watch him knock out fools? And Ali Abdelaziz is going to bring a bunch of Russians. It's going to be a really fun division, I think, going forward.
But
we'll see what
it's like. Does Russia produce a lot of good heavyweight like fighters though? Because if you look at ACA, right, you would think ACA is like the cream of the crop promotion for Russia, Dagestan, Chechnya, all that, the Caucasus and all of that, right? And like their heavyweight champion is, I believe Tony Johnson. He's an American. He just recently won the title. Is it Tony Johnson? I think so. Tony Johnson, right? ACA. He's an American. He's the only American champion at ACA. The rest of the champions are all like Dagestani or Chechnyan or Russian. So, does Russia produce a lot of great heavyweights? It doesn't seem like it, right?
Not lately. It doesn't seem.
Yeah, not lately, right? So you got Volkov.
It's
But
just
that's
going to be
about it.
fodder, though. They want some fodder for guys like Ali Akbari to beat up on. So they want to. I think the ones they pushed in the media was Buchecha, was Ali Akbari, and they still want to do something with Singh Balar, and then they've still got Brandon, haven't they? So those four are probably the four they want to build it around. You got Tom DeBlas come back as well, but they need guys for these guys to beat up. So that's what I think. Just nameless, faceless guys.
That's like iRobot or something. They just get those iRobots over here and just fight them.
Yeah,
Me, Buchecha, people are excited about him, right? But me, I don't follow the jiu-jitsu world that closely, but I know who Buchecha is. I've heard about it. I've seen a couple of his like jiu-jitsu matches, and he trains at, I believe he trains at like AKA with Kane and all of them. He's been doing it for a while, but we've never seen him fight MMA. And I'm thinking, like, do you really want him to fight this guy in his debut?
Yeah,
This
it's kind
one?
of lose a little bit.
Tom Taylor
think so,
said
right?
that Buchecha is going to choke Reug Reug out very quickly, and it's
And what if
unfair on him.
just hammer fist Buchecha's head and it's just on the side of the
Explodes.
canvas, right? And it just explodes, dude. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to find
is
the
a
hype
risky
that
fight,
this guy
right?
is quick and he's strong. Yeah, so he's no slouch. Maybe I've got it here. I've got the full fight. I presume Aries ain't gonna sue us, are they, or give us a copyright claim?
Maybe they're not even around anymore. I don't know. Because one thing about Aries, like they signed a bunch of former UFC guys, right? And they just never got to fight because of COVID. And I wonder what's actually really going on with them. Oh, now we're taking the risk.
Here we go.
Just the sound. You gotta take the sound off. No sound.
You want the sound?
Oh, is this the fight? No, no sound. No sound. I think that's
Oh,
what
the sound
it
is off.
is.
Okay.
Sound.
Okay.
We'll
Sounds
see
off.
the sound.
Let's
Dang,
just
it's
go to
almost got 500K views. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I was
Aries.
looking at that.
He kind of looks like that one basketball player from New Orleans Pelicans. What's his name?
I think I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking
I don't
about,
know the
right?
name though.
He's a star, though. He's a star. Has that similar
Gianna.
look. He has kind of like that
I don't
square
know
jaw.
about NBA.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Oh no, that wasn't a good takedown right there. Oh, this is the one, right? Man.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah, he's a beast. Look at those. Look at his hands. They're as
Oh,
big as his head.
That was the first round.
You see, speaking of fodder, this guy was fodder right there, right? This guy, whoever this guy is,
Yeah.
he was fodder right here. Oh, Aries, they broadcast on UFC Fight Pass? They do. It's in the back. I didn't know
Zion Williamson.
Oh, that
That's
sounds right.
Yeah.
Craig.
Leave it to Craig.
Craig knows his sports too, man. Like,
Oh, that's the guy who was really good in the college basketball, right? See,
Yeah,
I know.
Zion.
some-
he's really good. Look at this. Look at this guy. See? But the thing is, like, I could see Buchecha just doing just like Imanari rolling and just grabbing goal for his legs
Mhm.
and trying to limit any kind of exchanges.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that wasn't even like a good form. He just threw his legs out there.
This
Man.
is the finishing
It's just
sequence here. Is
so
scary.
Look at him. Look at this. Dude, he just jumped up straight in the air to throw a jab.
I'm honestly impressed by his cardio in this fight. The fact that like he was still able to go this hard all the way, just for his
God.
size alone.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Big
Did he weigh in at the heavyweight limit? I wonder if he's actually just at 265. He looks like it, man.
Yeah.
This guy was in Cage Wars, the other dude, Sofian
was he?
Bukichu. Yeah, he was a heavyweight contender, I believe. So
Hey,
not a bad win to begin your MMA career.
we need to get him on our live show. If he is signed to one
Yeah.
championship, that's like one of the
Oof.
guests we need to get on the live
Okay.
show like as soon as possible because I'm gonna have to
Again,
ask him
as
about.
far as I know, he's not signed to one championship. So
Yeah, he's not signed, but if he does get signed, like he's on the list of guys that I want to talk to. Right, this guy,
he's got a very interesting background. There's a good article on bjpen.com. Go search that up. Just really outlining his background and how he got into MMA. And this Sengalese wrestling, I can't remember the name of it, but it's really crazy to watch. So fun. Check it out. It's really interesting. And he's got a great.
Was it the one that was on Fight World on Netflix?
Maybe.
Was it that with Frank, whatever his name is from that show, Navy Street. What's that show? Navy Street, the MMA drama.
Navy Street. I've never heard of such a
No,
thing.
it was called Navy Street. It was with the Jonas Brothers. Frank Grillo. Yeah, Frank Grillo did a show called Fight World, and he went like to different countries and kind of like gave the history and like kind of showed you these different types of martial arts. And one of them was, I think, that Sengalese wrestling where you could like punch and wrestle at the same time. I don't know, it's something different.
Like
those guys,
they're in a sand. It's like a circle just of sand, and then there's people around them, and it's like an amphitheater.
Yeah,
and they have this cool clothing. It's really fun. Check it out. Yeah, I recommend it.
It is.
It's got a French name. I can't pronounce it. Anyway, yeah. So let's see if he turns up in one. As far as I know, as I said, he's not contracted.
Hey, I got that guy. Wait, I got that guy. If there's a draft, I got that guy. Like,
they're legit out there, aren't they?
Prospect.
Buchecha, Brazil, pretty legit. And
he's legit, but I'm like, this guy will like crush your head like a grape. Like,
but I mean, the report is believable, right? If it's from Rafa Marino, that's a pretty good source, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's had moments too, though. Like they've retracted some things, right? So
Dana's called him out a little bit, but I think they still came. I still think they came through.
Did they come through? I remember there was something. I don't think there was something.
But John, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about before we went live? We won't name and shame whoever it was, but some people jumping the gun on certain stories in the MMA world today.
Have you noticed that a lot, Drake? Like a lot of people are jumping the gun, man. Like they're just getting too excited about some information that they have. And I've had a lot of information, man, and I just kept my mouth shut because it's just like, okay, this could actually potentially mess up the fighter. I don't know, possibly, right? Or maybe they're in negotiations for something.
Yeah.
And if I open my mouth, it could mess something up with it. So I just keep my mouth shut, man. It's like that little moment of like people retweeting and reading your articles. It's not worth it, man. Like you could lose. I think you could lose like sources. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
easily. Like that's what could happen. And I think like with that, the whole like Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler, if that was a real report, I would figure like Dan Hooker and Michael Chandler would have came out and retweeted it, or they would have commented on it, but you haven't seen anything from Dan Hooker or Michael Chandler, have you? I haven't seen anything.
Nope.
Exactly. So they must be negotiating still. Something must be still going on to where they don't want to say anything that this fight is coming up. And it's kind of weird. What does undercard necessarily mean? Because I think a lot of people feel like undercard means prelims.
That's usually where my mind goes to. But I've argued about this a long time ago. But people will usually say like, if it's not the co-main, then it's the undercard. But
exactly. Like I wonder what's the real definition of that. Like, because like that's a tricky word, that people try to put out there. But when I think undercard, I think prelims. This is what I think, right? Because when you say it's the main card,
there's no way that fight's going to be on the prelims.
Exactly.
Like, no matter who Chandler fights.
No way.
No way. Even Dan Hooker. I think even Dan Hooker's got to the point where he's like
main events.
Yeah, he had back-to-back. He's up there to where it's like you don't put him on even like a main event prelim. That's just not what you do with Dan Hooker. Like Dan Hooker's revamped himself in the lightweight division and just become this force. And why would you do that? And especially Michael Chandler too. Like you said, Michael Chandler is Michael Chandler, man. Like that dude's gonna get a big fight and it's gonna be on a big pay-per-view or at least a headlining spot somewhere. The prelims, come on, guys, come on.
All right, well, look, any other topics, John? We hit our 3 topics. I can't remember if there were any more you wanted to discuss.
Well, with Coker, right? The interview with Coker that Mike Bond did for MMA Junkie, Coker was talking about the scheduling for Bellator, and they're still like kind of hatching everything out, but they're throwing around like tournaments that they want to do next year, and they're talking about they're going to do the bantamweight tournament. Like that could be a huge possibility. And he mentioned that whoever wins between Kyle Sakura and Horiguchi, they're going to try to bring them over. Because what's easier, bringing over one fighter or sending over a bunch of fighters to Asia? Just bringing over one fighter, right? So I think that that's possibly what they want to do, is whoever wins this fight between Kyle Sakura and Horiguchi. Man, I've been interviewing, and Drake's been interviewing a bunch of the fighters in Ryzen, and I've been interviewing all the, like, so many bantamweights. And usually when I interview every bantamweight, I ask them, what do you think is going to happen between Horiguchi and Kyle Sakura? And every single fighter, they always say it all depends on Horiguchi. They don't even say anything about Kyle Sakura. They always say it all depends on Horiguchi. Is he healthy? Is his knee okay? And if it is, then he's going to win that fight because he'll be able to move and he's going to be a lot smarter. But I think people are underestimating Kyle Sakura in this fight, man. Don't you think so?
Yeah,
Drake, you are the man on Rising for me, Drake. I don't know anything about it.
Of course. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I think that Kai is definitely, I mean, not being super overlooked, but definitely overlooked a little bit. I mean, the year that this guy's had, you know, I think if he can manage to beat Horiguchi in this fight, and especially if he finishes him, for me, man, he's probably the fighter of the year. You got to think about, you know, the first win over Hiro Masa, pretty much flawless performance to win the title. Then, you know, beat Maruyama, who, you know, a veteran and everything, not the most notable opponent, but knocked him out in the first round. And then if you can finish Horiguchi again, a healthy Horiguchi, and prove that it's not, you know, a fluke or anything, I think that would be massive for his 2020 campaign and everything, and prove that, you know, just how legit he is. And I think he's training very hard and is very focused for this fight. And, you know, I think he's feeling the pressure a little bit because he's got to prove that it wasn't a fluke, because that first fight, you know, massive upset. You know, nobody saw that coming. At least I didn't. Since then, I think he's really turned a new leaf, despite, you know, that loss to Manel Cape. That was surprising to me, just considering how, you know, good Kai looked all the way up to that. Yeah, I think Kai's being overlooked, but it makes sense because Horiguchi, man, it's so good. He's been just a destroyer, and him losing still doesn't feel like a thing that happened, right? Because it's so rare to see. So yeah, it's like, I get it, but I think that Kai is definitely gonna show up. So I don't know.
Oh,
we'll see. I'm excited.
You're choosing Kai to win this fight.
Oh man, I honestly haven't thought about I haven't thought about who's actually gonna win, but I don't know. I don't know if I can make a pick yet, man. The fight is so good and close. But if Horiguchi does show up, you know, as good as we know he is, and let's say that he was affected by the knee injury in the first fight, which, you know, is fair to believe. Take that out of the equation, and just him having fought Kai once before, feeling his power and seeing him improve since then, I think it's going to be really close no matter what. But it's like a coin flip for me, man. Honestly, I think they're so evenly matched, and Kai has really improved a lot since that first fight, which, you know, it is a really short amount of time, but he's looked so good. I don't know. I can't give you a prediction, honestly. I don't know in this one. I really don't know.
Drake, what about this then? Chris is asking, is Horiguchi the best Japanese MMA star of the last decade? Can you answer that one?
Ooh.
Both
One or
of you.
two. The other person that I think of is Ayaka Hamasaki, just because I think she's the best atomweight of all time. Been a champion in every organization she's fought in. You know, I think it's between them. So that's not as concrete of an answer, but yeah, I think Without a doubt, it's one of them. How about that?
Yeah,
All right.
10 years is a long time. And yeah, Horiguchi's he's been at the top of he's been the cream of the crop for most of that time. So it's hard to argue that Horiguchi is not, but then like you just mentioned, Ayaka Hamasaki has been the cream of the crop the whole time. Like legit cream of the crop. Like the only one that comes even close to her is Ham.
Mhm.
And that's kind of, the last fight was so close, man. I felt like Ham could have lost that fight, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Like either way. Like and everybody was so much anticipation for that rematch, and we're not gonna get it. And that is another reason why I'm starting to get to the point where you shouldn't wait for fights. Like people are like, oh, let these guys develop and let these guys bubble. And I used to be like that too, but now I'm starting to think the opposite. I'm thinking like if you could put the fight together right at this moment in the next couple of months, we should do that. And because you don't know what's gonna happen in 6 months. You don't know what's gonna happen in 9 months or 12 months. One of those fighters could be retired. One of those fighters could get a career-ending injury. So why don't you put them against each other when you can? You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm starting to get to that point now with my like future outlook on fights and matchups and everything. So that's why like I was saying before about like Yoel and Rumble. They were saying like I was saying like they should get like some a fight here or there, you know what I mean, like a fight with against a prospect or somebody that's like in the middle tier and to get kind of their feet wet. But really at the same time, it's like you might as well just put them against each other, Rumble and Ruel, because like Scott Coker was saying that. You see, I go back to Scott, right? He was saying that it's like you don't know if that fight's gonna be there in 3 months, so why don't you put that fight together when you can? And they could do it right now, and that's what everybody wants to see. So
we missed out on Colby and Woodley, man. I still cannot
Exactly.
believe that we did not see that fight. I cannot believe it.
Exactly.
I doubt we will at this point.
No, we're not gonna see it. Like Woodley's, well, we did see it, but we didn't see the one that we wanted. Right? Colby and
Did
Woodley.
it happen? Did I forget? Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah, we didn't get it at the right time. See, I totally
We didn't get
blanked
it at the
about
right
that.
time. Exactly. We didn't get it at the peak of like when Woodley was actually gonna go out there and do something. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
right.
like we didn't get that fight. So
Do you
like
think
with the
would you think Kobe would have done the same thing 2 years ago?
I do actually.
I think Colby, like people get
What does
fooled
that say
by
about though?
they get fooled by that character, man. The boy can scrap. The
The,
boy is nice. He's nice he's just nice at MMA. Like he might not be the best wrestler, he might not be the best striker, but the dude can fight like MMA. He's good at that, right? And he could put everything together. And he got cardio. And he got a chin. Like those two things are so valuable in MMA, I believe. Like people overlook that a lot, right? They're like that combination of cardio and having a chin, where you could take punishment and the guy that's hitting you gets tired. Then what happens? You're dead in the water, right? But one thing that Kamaru Usman didn't do is get tired, because if he did, Colby would have took over because Colby wasn't tired. You know what I mean? Colby he took a lot of damage, but he wasn't tired. So yeah, Colby, man, everybody. Kobe's Kobe, man. Like he's gonna be hated forever. Like even when we talk about him 10 years from now, we're gonna be sitting here talking about 10 years from now, and people are gonna still hate him. You know what I mean? So we could only do so much. But yeah, like going back to the fights, we need to put those fights together. But I asked Hamasaki about Ham, and she was saying like at first she was thinking like I need to go chase her, I need to go find her wherever she goes, and I was like, you could, but you don't really have to.
You got 2 over.
Exactly. and you're still I still think like both of them are kind of neck and neck in like who's the best, but you gotta give the edge to Hamasaki because she did beat her 2 times before that. So so I was thinking like you don't have to chase after her. You know what I mean? You have another chance to win the title coming up against Yamamoto, and Yamamoto's being overlooked right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like massively, and I feel like that's kind of justified though, in a way. It's kind of justified. Like Yamamoto, I feel like she kind of knows that, and she knows that this is a huge opportunity, And if she could go in there and actually implement what she can implement with her grappling, she could win this fight. It might not be pretty, but she could win this fight. You know, they're talking about, oh, yeah, we're gonna use the striking. I don't see that happening. I just see this could turn into like a huge wrestling match, and Yamamoto might win this fight just off that. You know what I mean? If she does, props to her, man. At 44 years old.
What a story. 46, dude. She's almost
46.
50.
46 years old, and she looks like she's like maybe 30, right? Maybe 30. Like, people think I look young. Like, she's 5 years older than she's 40. She's like 4 years older than me, and she arguably look younger than me. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. So,
Chris,
yeah, man. Like,
another question. Sorry. Here you go. What do you guys think of the 3 headliners for Fight Island? So that's January's cards. They've just announced Calvin Kattar against Max Holloway. I think we knew all these fights already. It's Chimaev and Edwards rebooked, and Conor and Poirier too. And one of them is on a Wednesday, so it's 3 shows in 8 or 7 days. That's going to be fun for us journalists, isn't it, guys?
Oh yeah. I thought that they wanted to do 3 in like 5 days initially. I thought it was a real tiny gap, but thankfully not.
I'm lucky. Like, I don't have to write anything about the shows.
The tough part.
So, like, all my work is done before all the shows. So my work
usually
is
how it
doing
is
the
for me, too.
interviews, and I'm done. So I could kind of like chill out and do the Twitter race. You know, the Twitter race, who can get on ESPN thing. Like, you could do that the whole show.
Hey man, you've made it. I'm still working. Working for
That's
it.
like the race, right? But anyways, like, yeah, it's like people that write the, you know, like post, what did you call it? Like post-fight articles or whatever. Man, that's a hard job, man. I've done it before many times, and I still do it for certain shows, but not for the UFC. I'll do it for like more regional, like promotions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a tough job. But yeah, what about the headliners, man? Like, let's get our early picks. Nick, what are the headliners?
Calvin Kattar, Max Holloway. Max is doing his Zoom thing again, apparently. He's just decided, I don't actually need to train.
He arguably won.
Yeah, he arguably the champ by training on Zoom. So I can't go against Max Holloway. I'm gonna go for Max here. I can't really give you a prediction of a round. I think maybe just a decision. And then who's next? Leon Edwards. Oh my God. I totally disagree with this fight being
You're on that train, aren't you, Nick? I know you're on that train.
Yeah, I think I might just make him look really silly. I think, yeah. And I hate to say that, because Leon Edwards is amazing. I think he's just gonna ragdoll him, and it's gonna be a really weird thing. And
you're not gonna be able to go back to the UK, man, if you're saying things like that.
I'm not intending on going back. And anyway, Leon is from Birmingham, I think. So I don't go to Birmingham. I've been there once. It was actually very fun going there. I don't think I'll go back there. He's a Brummie. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure Chris will be in the comments any minute now telling me where he's from. And Conor McGregor, I think, will TKO Dustin Poirier in round 2. That's my predictions. John or Drake, you can try and beat me. I don't know. Are we competing? I'm not sure. Who's going to remember what we predicted? Yeah.
These are early predictions. They could change like tomorrow.
They're not official. Okay, yeah.
So it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people, they think, Max Holloway, he's training on Zoom. They look at his last 2 performances, very close fights. I feel like the second fight was really close. He could have possibly won that fight. He could actually be champion right now. You know what I mean? I feel like in his mind, he still thinks he's the champion. And he has that championship mindset to where he doesn't want to lose the belt, even though he doesn't have the belt. And I feel like he kind of needed that hunger maybe to kind of rebuild that fire. And I feel like he's going to come in here against Calvin Kattar. And Calvin Kattar, he's on a hell of a roll too. You got 2 trains just head first coming at. One's coming from Seoul and the other one's coming from Busan, and it's about to crash, right? Like it's gonna be a crazy fight. But I feel like if they get into a technical battle, Max is just a little bit more smoother, just a little bit more seasoned, and he has that championship experience, man. I feel like that's the difference maker. Unless Calvin Kattar can go in there and land that huge shot, I feel like Calvin Kattar has that power. He has that power to separate him from his senses. But I see a decision, like a decision win or a late stoppage, if anything, for Max. I'm gonna stop right there for that fight, and I'm gonna let Drake talk about it.
I mean, I completely agree with you, man. You really took the words out of my mouth. Just as good as Kattar is looking and everything, this is one of those cases with Holloway, I think, where he's in a weird spot because of having these losses to the champion, and what he's like, he's 1-3 in his last 4 because of the Poirier loss too and everything, and with the Frankie win and then these 2 Volkanovski losses. So like it looks way worse on paper than it is. But Holloway, when you watch the fights, obviously by his last 2 fights against Volkanovski, it's not like the guy's slowing down at all. He's still a championship caliber fighter, and because of that, it's like, well, man, I'm not going to be able to pick against him against guys on the come up until I see him look more human and not like a champion against these guys. So if Kattar can go out and do that, which is possible, then that would change my mind. But until I see it, I still have to stick with Holloway, man. He's just as good, if not better, than Volkanovski in some people's minds. So I cannot go against Holloway in this one.
Yeah.
So clean sweep for Holloway, I think, from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You sometimes, a lot of the times in MMA, you kind of have to go with that safe bet. But Kattar, he has a chip on his shoulder. That whole New England cartel, they have a chip on their shoulder, and that chip could lead to a
look at Font.
championship. Yeah, look at Font. That's right.
Does Rob Font winning that, does that kind of make Kattar's win over Moraes a little less special in your eyes? Now Moraes has lost arguably 4 in a row if he didn't win that Aldo fight.
That win, that was impressive.
It was impressive, yeah, but everyone maybe overreacted. I'm trying to say, like, is Moraes really the guy we built him up to be in our heads?
I think he's good, and I think at one point he was championship caliber. You know what I mean? Like, he was great, but it just something changed, and someone was pointing out to me that everything changed when he left New Jersey and went to American Top Team, and after that switch, that's when he just started losing his fights, and I wonder, is he not getting that special detailed coaching like he did in New Jersey? Because New Jersey is a smaller team, way smaller team. Think about it. American Top Team is like a factory of fighters. Like, there's probably hundreds of fighters. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what's gonna be next for Marlon. Like, is Marlon gonna end up getting cut? Like, could he be one of the guys that is on the chopping block? If he does, he could go over to Bellator, and they need a bunch of bantamweights, so he could possibly be one of those guys. But at the same time, Coker says he doesn't want to sign guys. He's very selective of guys who he wants to bring on for the divisions, and that could be good for like the smaller promotions to get someone like Moraes in there to kind of headline some of their shows. But the thing is, if he gets cut, I don't know if he will. Most likely he won't, and they're gonna give him a couple more fights because he could still compete with like the 10 through the 15 range guys to see if who really, if he's really lost it. And it's weird to say that because 4 fights ago, everybody was on the train, right? Of the Marlon train. Like, he was gonna fight for the title.
I don't know where I went. Sorry.
And the crazy thing is, remember, he was matched up to take on Peter Yan. Imagine what kind of bloodbath that would have been, right?
Yeah, he got screwed by COVID this year, that's for sure. with all that considered.
Well, what about you guys then? Kamaev, Leon, John, who are you picking? I know who you're picking, actually.
Hamza Chimaev, man. Like, this is the test. This is the test that he needs. This is the test that everybody wants to see. And because he has that promotional push, the UFC is going to allow this to be the test, and they're going to put it on the main event. And I think he goes out there and just every factor that's like, if you factor in everything that's going on, and did you see the UK right now, dude? Like they're banning flights. Like I think they're shutting everything down.
They won't let us go anywhere. From the Brits were persona non grata. Cannot go anywhere.
Exactly. So like,
We
he
developed a mutant strain of coronavirus?
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
where did
that's how
this start?
bad we were. I'm not giving myself.
Birmingham?
I
I
haven't
don't
lived there
know.
for years, but not
Right,
in Birmingham. I don't know.
But the thing is, like, how is that affecting the fighters that are in the UK? Are they training at all, or are they like living in a house and training in the basement?
And it's 3 weeks
what's going on?
quarantine. If you come to Hong Kong from Britain now, it's 3 week quarantine. So I imagine Abu Dhabi's gonna implement something similar. He better get his ass on a plane soon if he's gonna fight.
Yeah,
Exactly,
okay.
right? Like he has to leave, right? The UFC has to scramble and get him out of there and put him somewhere. At least put him in Vegas, right, where they could fly him out of Vegas and on that like special.
Maybe
plane
he
that
already
they have.
is. I don't know.
Yeah, but
You
the thing
think
is, like,
did he come over already for the December fight? Was he in situ? I don't know.
no,
I don't think
he's in
so.
the UK.
Yeah, I don't think he's
in the
ever
UK,
left.
man. Yeah, I think.
But
he's
if they're
been-
smart, they would have got him out of UK a long time ago because it's a shit show there,
It
to put
is.
it bluntly. So
Yeah, but that would have destroyed his wallet. His bank account would have been hurting with all
well,
that
he
time.
could go chill at the PI, do his thing there. I'm sure UFC would
Yeah,
look
I
after
think
him to
he'll live
protect
at
their
the
main
PI.
event. He could live at the PI, yeah, I'm
I
sure.
mean, they wouldn't charge him.
Yeah, they wouldn't charge him, right? But
They'll look
the thing is,
after
like,
him.
I'm
he's-
saying that doesn't mean they wouldn't charge him.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're not his best friend. Let's just say
No.
that, right? But the thing
I
is,
think
like,
they
the
look after him.
situation is weird. But then, like we were just saying, like we'll go with the safe bet and go with the proven guy. And the proven guy is Leon Edwards. Like he's been on a tear, but he hasn't been fighting, and we don't even know what kind of training he's getting. And like, is he even gonna make it to the fight? That's the question. Is he gonna even be able to make it to the fight?
Look, to put it bluntly, the last time Leon Edwards fought, I lived in a different apartment. The word coronavirus wasn't the thing. It's so long ago. It's what, a year and a half he fought RDA? I'm trying to think. Was it
Crazy, yeah, about
last July? Yeah. Dude, I know he's the proven guy on this, but is he? He's been gone a while, and things move very quickly in MMA, I think, in the UFC in particularly.
So, I'm gonna go with Leon Edwards, man. I think like I'm gonna stick with the proven guy. I think that he's ready to take on Hamzat. Everybody keeps correcting me, saying it's not Khamzat, it's Hamzat. So okay, Hamzat.
It's Khabib, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. So
Silent
I've
K.
been saying Khabib for years. So
yeah, everybody does, right? I don't think they don't care, right? But yeah, it's just I'm gonna go with Leon, man. I think Leon's proven like he's fought the best of the best, and we just haven't seen Hamzat against anybody aside from Jared Mearshart, who he starched in one punch, right? And that was at 185. This is a fight at 170, and we could talk about how he's ranked, and I think that's retarded, like so stupid that he's ranked, right? But they need to do that just to put this main event together. So like, yeah, I'm just gonna go with Leon. I feel like he's proven, he's a proven commodity. He's fought the best of the best, and a lot of people are jumping on the Hamzat train, but not me. Not until he beats Leon. Drake.
Oh, is that it? Once he beats Leon.
On the train.
I am on the train, but I'm also realistic, right? So I mean, I agree with everything John's saying. Again, me and John, great minds think alike, of course. No shade there, Nick. But I think the thing about
Look, even Hafid is saying, "What's up, Drake and John?" I'm not saying he's not looking for me. He's looking for you two. So, wasn't that a sitcom on Nickelodeon?
I met
Drake
him
and John
last
or
year.
what?
Drake
I
and
met him
Josh.
last year.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, you met Hafid. Okay, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
he's
last
loving
year
your hat as
in
well.
Japan.
So,
Shout out
There
to
you go.
Hafid.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Hafid.
thanks for
man.
watching Hafid. Sorry, Drake, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I think the big thing about this matchup is I think Leon is just a very smart fighter. He's got a great fight IQ, and I think that that'll be a big thing for him. And I don't think he'll be deterred by the moment or like mentally gotten to, which you people have argued was probably the case with Mearshard. He just kind of looks scared and everything. But I don't know. I think that despite the layoff and all the circumstances, Leon should be okay, but Hamzat has proven to be an anomaly so far, but this is the big test, right? Like,
Picture this,
it's hard to
though.
tell.
If Leon Edwards beats Hamzat Chimaev, wow, what does that do for him? Suddenly he's the hottest thing in UFC, right? He's probably got a title.
It depends
shot
on how he
against-
beats him, I think.
Who
But
beats who?
this guy, if Leon beats Hamzat,
He's got a title shot.
yeah, title shot easily. But he's like, what does it do for his reputation? He suddenly is the
It doesn't do
superstar,
anything.
right?
It doesn't do anything.
You know, Hamzat's the big bad wolf. He's like, I'm coming to smash everybody. He completely shuts down the hype train, derails the hype train. Leon's
Yeah,
stock rises high for
But
me.
the UFC won't even promote that. They'll just be like, all right, we'll promise
They'll
you.
be
a
so
title."
salty.
And the funny thing is, the UFC could promise fighters title shots all the time, and half the time it doesn't happen. So Leon has to just take that with a grain of salt. Just be able to go out there and take out Hamzat, stop the hype train, have people talking about Leon. Because Twitter is gonna go wild if Leon loses this fight. Like, social media will go crazy for Hamzat because they're already going crazy. Anything you post about Hamzat, people are watching it from the US to Europe to Antarctica. There's probably Hamzat fans
The two
out there.
people on Antarctica love him.
Exactly. They're in the igloo watching the pay-per-views on UFC Fight Pass, right?
The little tablets.
yeah.
Okay, what about McGregor and Poirier then? Quickly, John, who you picking?
That's
And
the
then we got a
toughest one.
question we'll get
This
to
is a
from one
tough
of the
fight. This is a fight that when I look at it and it's like 30 years in the making, I'm just thinking like McGregor, I think he just like psychologically, he's just at another level. And you saw it before the first fight. And now that he has a win over him and he knocked him out, I'm just waiting for, when does McGregor turn it up? When does McGregor start playing the mind games? When does McGregor start the trash talk at Dustin Poirier? Because he's being cordial, he's being nice right now, but I'm just waiting for him to turn it up. And I feel like it's going to happen. And we're just going to, once it happens, it's just like, that's when the psychological warfare comes up. You know what I mean? Like, that's when, he's going to be able to get into that mind. And I feel like that's what I'm waiting for. I can't make a pick now. I'm waiting for that to happen. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to have to go with Poirier. You know what I mean? If Poirier goes in there, Poirier himself, not flustered, like, I think he could technically break him down, especially at lightweight. I feel like he has the power. He has improved. I don't think McGregor has improved since that fight. I feel McGregor's just got what he's got, and it's just taken him really far. But I don't see him improving or adding to what he has. But Poirier has added, improved, blended, sautéed, barbecued, everything. You know what I mean? Like, he even has his own sauce, right? Like, he even has his own sauce.
Let's have
right?
his own sauce, yeah.
So, that's how I feel right now. You know what I mean? I feel like I need a little bit more time to marinate on it,
It's just a quick one. Yeah, Drake.
Okay, so if I want to pick right now, I'm going to take Poirier in this fight.
All right. Mr. Riggs.
I love what you're saying, man. And I really, I think a big part of this is probably the mental games of it, the mental part of it, because you look at the first fight and everything, Poirier very obviously let McGregor get in his head, as many people did and do just against him. And in this time now around, he admitted it in that first fight, and he's matured so much, not only as a fighter, but just as a man, growing up, getting older since then. I don't think he's going to be affected by anything McGregor has to say to him now. And it's so weird too with the circumstances surrounding this fight. Like you talk about when's McGregor going to turn it up? Well, how can he do it to the same effect that he was able to when we weren't in the COVID era? Like, can he make it even to that same effect? Like, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see potentially. And then you got to think about this too. With any McGregor fight, you know, that's half the battle is the mental aspect. But you also think about what comes with a McGregor fight, the unique atmosphere. And when you're fighting him, you're not only fighting him, you're pretty much fighting thousands of fans and the crowd around you. That isn't going to be there this time. How big of a factor is that that much less pressure on Poirier, even though I believe he's probably adapted to that since then. He's had plenty of big fights, but that's a thing that he doesn't have to worry about now, another element that is taken away. And then also this, though, with that comes with no crowd. Do you think Conor's going to like talk shit to him in the cage? Like that's a thing that we'll be able to hear and could be very fun and seeing that play out. And I mean, even Dustin, I think he said a little bit of stuff in the Hooker fight, if I'm remembering correctly. So, I mean, just these little elements, I think the psychological factors and what we typically get with the Conor fight, I don't think will be there this time or affect Poirier. And seeing him as a fighter grow and develop, I think it's safe to say he has definitely he's improved much more than Conor has since then. I don't know if I want to say Conor hasn't improved at all. I mean, just a little bit, but I think you could say that Poirier has definitely improved more since that first fight. And with everything else in consideration, it's going to be very interesting. I do have to lean towards Poirier for the activity, but then also you can argue he's taken more damage because of the activity. So like so many little factors I think about this, but still I have to give the edge to Poirier just slightly.
Yeah, you made a great point about the atmosphere of a McGregor fight, right? And also there's 3 events that week. So the lead up is going to be somewhat magnified with these events, and they're going to have press conferences. That's why I think that's why they're doing it, is because these events will be going on, but then they're going to be promoting the whole McGregor versus Poirier 2 fight for each event. So each event is like an appetizer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A small appetizer with Cater and Holloway, and then another appetizer with Hamzat and Leon, and then you get the full course with Poirier and McGregor. And I feel like McGregor is going to do something, man. I feel like McGregor, he's going to want to prove that he's McGregor. He's not going to come in there and be respectful. I feel like heading into the Cowboy fight, there was a lot of nerves because he was coming off a loss, and he can't lose 2 in a row, man. Like that's not something that can happen for him. And he didn't talk trash. He kind of did the reverse to Cowboy, and that got into Cowboy's head. He's like, "Oh, this guy's being so nice. We're not even fighting. Like we're gonna like tap heads and hug and then that's not what McGregor did. He went in there and threw out his shoulder, you know, and that's what happened. He threw out his shoulder, right? Just threw his shoulder into his jaw, and it was over with, into his nose. So I'm waiting for this week, man. This fight week coming up with these 3 events, man, it's going to be one of those, like, I feel like it's going to be a memorable week for MMA because we're not going to have shows for like 3 weeks or so. So everybody's going to be hungry for shows, and it's going to be back to back to back. And we're just going to be like, there's going to be moments, I think, in those 3 shows where we're going to be like, what just happened? There's so many good matchups that we're not even talking about because of the 3 main events, because of Hamzat, because of McGregor, because of, you know, Poirier, because of, you know, Max Holloway and Cater. There's going to be some breakout stars coming out from these events, man. And if Poirier wins, I think Poirier becomes massive. Like he's at this point where it's like, he's not massive, but he's massive to the MMA fans, to the fight fans. But I feel like if he beats McGregor, he becomes massive on like a worldwide scale. Because
anyone who beats McGregor gets that McGregor rub.
Yeah, the Habib. Yeah. Habib did, right?
Nate Diaz went.
Nate Diaz did.
Yeah.
And if he knocks him out, because he's never been knocked out.
That would be pretty nuts to see.
Yeah, he's been knocked out by Mayweather, but that's in boxing.
Yeah.
Those are big pillow gloves, right? Like getting knocked out with 4-ounce gloves by Poirier. And I think like the volume is going to be a big factor in this fight. Like Poirier is going to because Poirier is much bigger, he's going to be able to take the shots a little bit better. And like Diaz did, you know what I mean? Like Diaz was able to take the shots, and that was the difference maker, right? Diaz was able to take the shots. He had the cardio, and he outlasted McGregor, and then McGregor just ran out of gas, and then he was able to tap him. But I feel like this is going to be the same fight, except for Dustin Poirier is going to TKO him like a little bit later in the fight. And that's what I see. This is my gut feeling. You know, like I tell people, I don't analyze fights. I just give you my gut feeling of how I feel like what's going to happen. Like, don't come at me and take bets, you know, because most of the time
we were
I'm
both
wrong.
right about Oliveira, my man. We were both right about Charles.
Exactly.
All right. Well, look, we hit that magic marker. We've gone over an hour and a half. But one comment here, I guess one question we should ask here. He asked it a while ago. Sorry, Willie. You asked about the guys UFC's getting rid of. Yoel, Rumble, Pettis. They've all left now. You think that's going to be a problem for the UFC in the future, since they are known for having the best fights in the world? I guess, yes. Are they diluting their roster? Are they weakening their own product?
I don't know. This is a hard question for me, and I don't know if I'm the best person to answer, because I would say yes, but just this whole year, like my interest in the UFC specifically, I feel like has dwindled. Like my excitement levels more than usual, which has been very sad. But I think it's also a mess happening around the world and everything, just affecting my interest in things. So, but then you look at who they are getting rid of. And if they do get rid of these more people and who they're bringing in, like all of these Contender Series guys that they've been bringing in, like so many of them, it looks like there is about to be a changing and trying to build up some new guys, which initially is going to look not that great on paper, and we'll see how it plays out and if it ends up being a good idea. So, yeah, I think in terms of diluting, that definitely seems possible. But at the end of the day, that's great. That is great for MMA overall. That helps everybody else grow to like try and compete better. So I'm all for that. Really, you want more options for everybody and more outlets to get your entertainment and build up the sport overall. You want competition. Competition is good. We've seen with Pride versus UFC, WEC also. I mean, Strike Force. Yep, Strike Force. All these other promotions who got really big and then eventually got bought by the UFC because they became too big for their own britches, right? So I think it is a good thing if that happens. And I lean towards it, but hard to tell. We'll wait and see what happens.
One thing that the UFC has that every other organization does not have is that brand recognition. And that brand recognition is going to carry them throughout this, I guess, slump, you could say, where they're trying to build up the younger stars, the younger generation. And it's kind of ironic because Bellator is doing it right now, right? And they've been doing it for the last couple of years, and it's kind of been fruitful for them, right? With the stars that they have actually built up, the younger stars, the guys that they've been trying to raise up, and taking all this backlash for the last couple of years Bellator has about like, you're signing these old guys and you're having them fight in the main events, and why don't you build guys up? But they were doing it the whole time underneath your nose, and now they're getting rid of the old guys. And then now they have these stars coming up and these established fighters taking over the main events, and it's working out beautifully for them. And then they're signing these other big names on top of that, which is, like Drake said, great for the sport. The UFC, it's going to get diluted somewhat, but it doesn't matter to the average fan. Long as you get like those highlight reel finishes, like the Joaquin Buckleys and the Kevin Hollands, it doesn't really matter who it is, right? Long as those are produced in the prelims or on the undercards or whatever, and then you got the big stars up at top, that's what the UFC is going to push for. And the UFC has that brand recognition, like I said, to where it could seem diluted, but it's not, because most of the casual fans are not even going to notice it. We're going to notice it, and we're going to criticize it maybe here and there, but UFC, most people still think the sport is called UFC. So you can never take it out of someone's brain, right? So don't trip about it. Watch the sport. Watch other promotions, right? Watch Bellator, watch Ryzen, watch One Championship, because they're starting to catch up. And that's what we always wanted. Us, like us fans, that's what we always wanted. We always wanted these other promotions to catch up and compete. And the UFC's in a weird way allowing this to happen by doing this. And it's great. And the UFC doesn't care because why? They're making money hand over fist right now, right? Like they don't care about who's out there. And it's great for some of the fighters that are coming up right now because they could get, you know, some fighters, it might take them like 5-10 years to get signed by the UFC. Now they might get signed in 3 just because what the state of affairs is for the UFC and their brand, right? And what they're trying to put out there, the product. So it's great for everybody. It's actually great for us that cover the sport too, because it allows you to maybe have a different option of like what you want to cover. And it actually will bring an audience with that compared to like before where it was just like mostly the UFC, like only the UFC. Now it's everywhere. Like you got one championship. We do like SCMP MMA. We cover one championship a lot. And then I recently started to cover Ryzen for SCMP now. And then we're dabbling into Bellator, right? It's all great, man. It's all good for everybody. And I'm happy because I put in my legwork for the last, I don't even know how many years. And it's actually like myself too. I feel like I'm growing with the sport, you know what I mean? And it's helping. And you guys know it too, man. You guys been on the grind for a long time. When you see these newbies coming in thinking like, hey, I'm going to get this and that, and I'm going to do this and that. It's like, all right, guy, you know, John Morgan's been covering the sport since the 90s, dude. Like, you think he just sat in that chair and got the first question every single time for no reason? Come on.
These young kids never even heard of MMA today.
Exactly.
Because
it's like disappeared, right? Like,
oh yeah, it's gone.
We're gonna see what MMA today on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
We should, man. Lost a lot of great work.
Me too, man. Me too, a lot. But anyways, yeah, man. Like that was a great question, though. Like it allowed me to like rant a little bit, and I wasn't even thinking about that. But yeah,
thank you, Waleed. Good question. Hope you were still watching. He did ask you a while ago.
Yeah,
but
the man.
Yeah, look, we've gone over an hour and a half, which is normally the sweet spot, the maximum.
Sorry, guys,
so
my fault.
No. Also, yeah, don't want to keep you too long, Drake. I know you're on the other side of the world. You've got to get up and do your real life things. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. We'd love to have you back, I guess, to do. Especially, I'd love to get you on your Rising thoughts for next week. We do a little preview, maybe. Yeah. Let's do it. Be great. And John, you've got your show tomorrow. The Hickman Brothers is going to be joining you, right?
Tomorrow morning here. Tomorrow night, I guess tonight over there. So yeah, I'll have the Hickman Brothers coming on, and we're going to talk about Volkanovski, because they're deep into their camps with Volkanovski and Adesanya, and they're tied in pretty closely with the City kickboxing boys. So Drake's gonna come back on my live chat eventually. He's gonna be here early next year. Drake will be one of the guests. So yes, Chris,
don't jump the gun.
Are you inducting me? Oh, oh right, the Hall of Fame segment. I watched the show. I know what he's talking about.
All right.
Yeah, we weren't.
Drake, we'll have you back. Hey, we'll probably have you back next week for the Rising stuff.
Man.
Yeah, preview, man. It's gonna be fun, especially because we have very unique perspective because we've interviewed a lot of the fighters that are fighting, so we could kind of share little secrets, right? Little tidbits.
Very true.
Yeah. So, and then give our picks that are probably wrong, mine at least, right? So
yeah,
my gut feelings. I think I'm gonna start a podcast called Gut Feeling.
Hey, there you go.
Guts. Get deep in the guts MMA. Like so. No, I'm just kidding. All right, man. Let's shut it down.
Yeah, Drake. Where can everyone find you? By the way, if they're watching.
Yeah, you guys, if you want to follow all my stuff, at Reug Reug _ on Twitter and Instagram, everything goes on to Twitter, so you can see it there. Just dropped episode 6 of Broaden Horizon, my show with all the Ryzen superstars that you could think of in English. We also have a Japanese version now. Shingo helps him with that one, so shout out to him. And WMA Today podcast is every Wednesday on the Scraps YouTube channel. But all of that, of course, is on my Twitter, so I'll keep it short, you guys.
I love to get the plugs in, so you can go as long as you want. You know.
Oh, right.
Well-
That's all I got for now. That's all I got for now.
Or yeah, otherwise go follow us now on Twitch. SCMP
Yeah.
MMA on Twitch. I cannot wait for this adventure, this Twitch adventure, to discover what Twitch is as a 33-year-old man now. I'm excited. I feel like my dad must feel when I used to hand him, iPods and things, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" Twitch is alien to me. So you gotta give me some tips, guys. Do you guys use it?
Nope.
Oh man.
Yeah, all right. We'll fix
Just
it
to
out.
watch this. That's it.
Just to watch the post-fight podcast.
Yes,
That's what-
exactly.
yeah,
I have
all right.
I have the stream of us on a viewing for Twitch here. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really been screwing
Otherwise-
with the connection.
Yeah, well,
Free
otherwise,
view.
you can find us Facebook, YouTube, follow us. We are dangerously close to 12K subs on YouTube. We're 11,930 before this show started. Do a quick check now. Drum roll, please. What are we up to? Oh, it's too slow. My internet sucks. Someone can tell me. That'd be
If we
good.
get to 12K, Nick will shave his eyebrows. So come on, guys. Let's
Ooh.
punch
No
that.
way. No way. That's not a thing. Jasmine just brought me a shaver. She sent it from all the way from
Manscaped?
Georgia. Shout out to Blaze. It's a beard trimmer because she sent it to me before I actually shaved my beard off. So I shaved it about a month ago, but it's just been in the mail for a while or some shit. But Georgia to Hong Kong is far. Anyway, I cannot load up the YouTube, so I can't see. Oh, I have it. Here it is. There, like John said, 12K. We want to get to 12K by the end of the year. So tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your gran, tell your dog, everyone. SCMP MMA. We haven't gained any subs since the show started, so that's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. Very happy. Thank you, John. Thank you, Drake. Drake, you dropped in, and unexpected, but love to have you here. Great insight.
Ah,
Great to
thanks for
put a
inviting me.
voice to the name as well and the face. Haven't actually spoken to you online or anything, just through texts and DMs. It's very good to actually speak to you, Drake.
Yes, you too, sir.
Loving
Thank you.
loving the look. Is that a lockdown cultivated?
Yeah,
Look,
I've just kind of stopped caring for the moment. Even though it's a lot of maintenance anyways, because I do, besides getting rid of it, I want to make it look good at the same time. So it's 50-50, but so
Look who's here, Sepulot. You're turning up late, Les Sepulot. We're just
Mhm.
about to shut it down. I'm sorry. But we
I
will be
agree with
back
him.
tomorrow or tonight. Yeah. Tonight, Sepulot, John's show, JHK, the live show, the post-fight live chat. I'll be doing some producing on it. Hickman Brothers going to be there. Can't wait. We'll see you all there.